evening, 6 o'clock on the East Coast. Welcome to NASR. I'm Billy D. Long time no see. We've slowed down the shows a little because we had no football this past weekend. We were, if you saw on my socials last night, at the New York Islanders game with some good buddies as they defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-4 in an overtime thriller. A great game by the young Islanders. Matthew Schaefer, their 18-year-old phenom defenseman, never disappoints. Another 2 points for him, a goal and an assist. A three-point night for Bo Horvat, 2 goals and an assist, including the game winner in overtime. Barzal with a goal and assist, and just a fantastic game for the Islanders. A fantastic win for the Islanders, not a fantastic game, because they were sloppy through much of the game, and I thought the Penguins dominated a lot of the play. But the Islanders got a much-needed 2 points, as we're going to take a look here at the standings in the NHL, because we want to wrap things. We got tonight's games and tomorrow, and then we hit the Olympic break. We're going to give you the Olympic hockey rosters tonight as we get ready for that, which the hockey version of the Olympics starts on February 12th. Everything else starts on the 6th, all the other events. So we are going to get to, actually, let's take a look at last night's Islander game first. Since I was at it, it was a very exciting game, although I tell you what, I know that the Penguins have acquired Stuart Skinner in the trade with their former goalie Tristan Jarry, who went to Edmonton. I think both guys needed a change of scenery, and both guys were playing well. Jarry got injured, but Skinner was 8-2 his first 10 games with the Penguins. But, Stuart Skinner is Stuart Skinner. You are who you are. And there were a couple of softies he gave up last night, which I thought kept the Islanders in the game, including the game-tying goal to Ryan Pulock. I thought Skinner gave up a couple of softies. I thought he gave up a bad goal to Barzal. I thought he gave up a bad goal to Pulock. And he kept the Islanders in the game. They were being outplayed most of the game by, let's be honest, a Penguins team that has just played over their head this year. They've got, some surprises from young kids like the forward Chinnikov, and then you get journeymen like Anthony Mantha coming in and has 20 goals already, the former Capital. You got youngsters like Brazeau, and they've gotten a lot of elevation from guys that they were not expecting to be or to develop as quickly. They have the young defenseman that they got from Colorado, 25-year-old Ilya Solovev, and just guys like that have just stepped in and played above their head, quickened their progression this season on the Penguins roster. But guys like Mantha's got 20 goals already. Brazeau's got 16. These are guys that you have Rust and Malkin and Crosby and Raquel, guys like that. But you were supposed to be pretty thin on the defensive end, and you didn't know who your goaltender was. I mean, you got journeymen like Witherspoon, a former Islander farm team product who was thrown away by the Bridgeport team. And you got guys like that on your defense. You got Letang out injured, but yet the Penguins just keep on getting points every night, and Malkin and Crosby are playing like they're in their prime. But a couple of bad ones for Skinner last night, and that led to the Islanders' come-from-behind victory again. Bo Horvat in overtime, 5-4 Islanders, and that was a much-needed win for the Islanders. Let's take a look at the standings before we hit the Olympic break. In the Eastern Conference, the hottest team in hockey right now, playing at an amazing pace and clip, are the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Bolts are 18-1-1 in their last 20 games. They pull out another OT win last night, 4-3 over the Sabres. after come from behind victory in their Winter Classic over the Bruins. This team's never out of it. Tons of firepower. Listen, the Lightning, they learned some lessons from being pushed around by the Florida Panthers in playoffs past. Darren Radish got 17 goals, scored in his last 5 straight games. They got to give this guy an extension and a contract because he has elevated his game. Hagel's doing what Hagel does. But you got young guys like Giannis Moser, who's the big type of presence and forward that they need, playing on those third and fourth lines to, bang in the corners, get big-time goals, intangible players that have seemed to evaded the Lightning in their past playoff runs. Now, I'm just talking about the last couple of years. The Tampa Bay Lightning, went back-to-back cups and went to 3 cups in a row, and only a few years ago, before the Panthers started this run of 3 straight Stanley Cup appearances, and it seemed to have been their kryptonite lately. But now, with guys like Bjorkstrand, who they picked up from Seattle, and Moser developing, and Radish red hot, and Hagel red hot, and kids like Goncalves, the youngster that was on the fourth line last year, playing much better. They're bigger around the net and bigger and skilled around the net. The Lightning has seemed to got the big bodies they needed on the third and fourth lines. Again, Gage Goncalves, who was a youngster last year, played good. He's playing good this year as well. But adding Bjorkstrand, the development of Moser, Radish red hot. They get another defenseman, Dastu, from the AHL. And these guys are big and skilled. They're bigger and like I said, the physical presence was kind of what the Lightning, had lost a little when you had McDonough out injured and he's back. You lost guys that you used to have. You lost some bangers in your Stanley Cup runs that were not replaced, which is why when they play teams like the Panthers, they'd get pushed around by guys like, Sam Bennett and fourth line guys like Gadjevich and Nozick. And now the Lightning, they have the ammunition to, combat that stuff. It's like when they had big fourth line maniacs like Pat Maroon roaming their lineup. They've, like I said, Bjorkstrand, another dirty goal last night around the net to tie the game late. This kid Moser's always delivering a big hit every time I look up. Radish with another big goal. Hagel's been on fire. Goncalves, all of these, it's all coming into play, and then you have the best goalie in the world in Vasilevsky, and of course you know what you get from Gensel and Kucherov, the endless firepower. And the other thing is they're doing this without Braden Point. The Lightning have had their injuries too, not as much as the defending champs. And switching over to the champs, the Florida Panthers right now are not going to make the playoffs. They've lost 4 in a row. The injury bug they can never evade the injury bug. It just seems like another guy goes down every week. Lundell is day to day. Marchand is day to day. So you get Tkachuk back, and then those two are out of the lineup. And then Bennett gets hurt, but Bennett will be back tonight. He only missed the last game, but Bennett will be back with a shoulder injury. And now Bennett's been added to Team Canada because Cirelli got hurt for the Lightning. So it's just been one thing after another for the Panthers. You know about Barkov. You know about their fourth line bangers. Nozick and Gadjevich have been out all year. You could have survived just that because they got a lot of guys from Charlotte. Schwintz come up. He was a good free agent signing, and he's gone back and forth between Charlotte and the NHL, and he's played great for them. You got Mackie Samoskevich, who's a young player for them. They could have survived it. You got Vilmanis, another Latvian player. They have a lot of depth in their farm system, and they can bring some of these guys up. But when you're missing guys like Marchand, and you were without Tkachuk, you were without Luosterainen for a while. Now you're without Lindell. Then you lose Bennett. There has been times. Now Bennett will be back tonight. Lindell and Marchand are still day to day. The Panthers cannot win games. Oh, and also you're missing Seth Jones and Dmitry Kulikov for an extended period. Now they're supposed to come back after the break. But you're talking 7-8 guys out of their lineup on many games. And you can't win like that. And they hung in there. They were 8 games over 500. They were hanging in there. But it just becomes The war of attrition has become too much for the Florida Panthers. They've won 4 in a row, and they are 10 points out of a playoff spot, and they are quickly fading out of the picture, as all these long runs may have finally just gotten to be too much for the Florida Panthers. Getting back to the standings. The Tampa Bay Lightning, 36, 14, and 4, 76 points on top of the Atlantic. But you know what? As hot as they've been, 18, 1, and 1, the red-hot Detroit Red Wings, 33, 18, and 6, right on their heels. And the Red Wings, finally, it's been years since this once proud franchise has been in the playoffs. Finally, they're going to be there. And, with a nice young goalie that they got from Anaheim, and John Gibson has played well. But, you got Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond and Alex DeBrincat, and all this young, fine talent they acquired during some off years is bearing fruit, playing great. And also congratulations to Patrick Kane, who broke Mike Modano's record. He is now the number 1 scoring USA player of all time. He's breaking Mike Modano's record as being the all-time leading scorer of American-born U.S. hockey players. Congratulations to Patrick Kane. So the Wings are in second. The Buffalo Sabres, another great story this season. The Sabres are 32, 18, and 6, 70 points. They lose last night, but they did get a point. They lose in overtime. Tage Thompson has been fantastic this year, as well as Alex Lyon in net for them. He's been outstanding, the former Panther. Now, the Sabres are a great story. Listen, they're not going away. They're playing fantastic. Then the Montreal Canadiens, 31, 17, and 8, also with 70 points. That's your top 4 in the Atlantic. The Canadiens, obviously, they're very explosive offensively. I mean, they have so many guys that could put pucks in the net with Cole Caulfield and Demidov, and then you got, Hudson on defense. The problem with the Canadiens, and of course Nick Suzuki, their captain. The problem with the Canadiens, they light up the scoreboard, but Montembeault in goal has been inconsistent. They're not great with keeping the puck out of their own net. They score a ton, but defensively they've struggled, surprisingly, because with Dobson and Hudson, that line is good, but they've struggled with their defensive depth and their goaltending, but they can light up the score sheet. So also another great story, the Boston Bruins. David Pastrnak leading, Connor Geekie, and another team like the Penguins who have younger guys that are stepping up ahead of schedule. Swayman's playing good in net. 32, 20, and 4, 68 points for the Bruins. And they've been a great story. And again, nobody expected the Bruins and Penguins to be in playoff position, but they're not going away. The Maple Leafs have struggled this year. Obviously, they lose Marner to the Knights in the offseason, but they are in the mix. 27, 21, and 9, 63 points. John Tavares scored his 20th goal. It's the 16th year of his career he's scored 20 or more goals. Congratulations to JT, even though us Islander fans will freaking hate him forever. But the Leafs are on the outside looking in right now, but have played better of late. Obviously, it helps because they got their goalie back healthy. Let me take a look at Toronto, where they're at. All the fans in Toronto, they're always all over the poor Leafs. The Leafs did beat Edmonton last night 5-2, and they really, really needed that win. Again, I told you, Tavares, for the 16th year in his career, the 16th time he will score 20 or more goals. Listen, Austin Matthews, and Tavares and kids like Nyes, who I think is going to be I think Nyes should be on the American hockey team, the U.S. team. They're picking up the slack, but losing a player like Mitch Marner, it kills. It kills. Stolarz being back healthy, though. Stolarz is a damn good netminder, and him being back, the Leafs have, climbed from the basement back up to 63 points, 27, 21, and 9. The Ottawa Senators also playing better lately, 27, 22, and 7. Brady Tkachuk will be joining his brother Matthew on the U.S. Olympic team. And in last place, the defending champions, 28, 24, and 3, 59 points, are the Florida Panthers, as they are literally sliding out of the mix. Metropolitan, Carolina Hurricanes, 35, 15, and 6. 76 points. They are on fire. Their biggest issue has been their goaltending. I mean, Frederik Andersen is usually their number one guy, but Brandon Busey, their backup, has actually been the better of the two goaltenders. But, they're loaded. The Hurricanes are loaded, and to me right now, they got to be considered one of the top two teams in the Eastern Conference. Listen, Carolina's been there every year, and again, like Tampa has experienced over the last couple years, they're running into the Panthers. I mean, that's about it. I mean, if not for the Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes or the Tampa Bay Lightning could have easily, advanced to the Cup Finals. I mean, Sebastian Aho, who will be playing for Team Finland, is just amazing. Seth Jarvis, fantastic, Team USA. Seth will be on Team USA. I'm sorry, Seth Jarvis is Canadian. I misspoke. What I meant to say was Jacob Slavin, their fine defenseman, will be on Team USA again, returning to Team USA. I'm going to give you the Canadian roster in a second. I'm not sure if Jarvis is on it, but again, with Jordan Staal and Kotkaniemi and Sebastian Aho, just a loaded team. Jarvis, Aho, Slavin, the Hurricanes just doing what they do every year. It seems like every year they're deep into the playoffs, they're conference finals, they're top of the Metropolitan, and they're in contention for the whole thing. But if not for the Florida Panthers, that's the mountain that they have been unable to climb thus far for Carolina. So the biggest thing for Carolina, and I thought they would try to make a move at the trade deadline to solidify their goaltending, and that could still happen. Obviously, the trade deadline's upon us, but it hasn't expired yet. And today, the Rangers, who are in dump city, dumping everything, did dump the bread man Panarin for a third rounder to LA for Liam Greentree, one of their prospects, and again, a third round pick. That is all they got for Arturi Panarin, who now takes his talents to Los Angeles, and the Kings immediately signed him to an extension. So Panarin gone from the Rangers. So in the Metropolitan, we have the Hurricanes. The Penguins, as we mentioned before, they are 8 points back, 20 after last night's loss. The Penguins are 28, 15, and 12, 68 points. Again, the Hurricanes have a comfortable lead at 35, 15, and 6. The Islanders, 10 games over the mark at 31, 21, and 5, 67 points, playing over their head. The Jackets have been surging lately at 28, 20, and 7, 63 points. The Capitals at 28, 23, and 7, also 63, but Carolina has 3 games in hand. Rounding out the bottom, the Flyers 25, 20, and 10, 60 points. The New Jersey Devils, just a disastrous year for what was a hopeful season for the Devils. 28, 26, and 2, 58 points, hampered by injuries. Hughes hurt again. Meyer leaves the team for personal reasons and comes back. Doesn't play well. Markstrom's been a disaster in net. Still searching for a goaltender. The Devils have been searching for a goaltender since Marty Brodeur left. And the Rangers in dump mode, just completely terrible. The worst team in hockey, 22, 28, and 6 on the bottom of the Metropolitan. If the playoffs started today, Lightning, Red Wings, Sabres, top 3 in Atlantic. Hurricanes, Penguins, Islanders, top 3 in the Met. And both wild cards out of the Atlantic, with the Canadiens at 70 and the Bruins with 68. That would be your 8 playoff teams. The Jackets are 5 points behind the Bruins, as are the Maple Leafs. They're the closest ones. The defending champs are 9 points out of a playoff spot. Now, the Panthers hopeful that after the Olympic break, they'll have their top 6 D-men back, because they'll get Seth Jones and Dmitry Kulikov, who they do expect to be back after the Olympic break. They also expect fourth-line banger, but he's an intangible guy, Jonah Gadjevich, to be back in the lineup. And hopefully, they have the healthy Lindell and Bennett and Marchand to go with Kachuk. I mean, if they have at least those guys, I think they could have survived the Barkov injury. But you can't win with 8 of your starting 18 out. I mean, it's like almost 50% of their team. And it's been that way all season for Florida. Some guy, they get a couple of guys back, another one gets injured. They get another guy back, two more get injured. It seems like there's an injury every week for the Florida Panthers. The war of attrition has just started to do them in. Western Conference, Central Division, Colorado Avalanche 36-9-9. Nathan McKinnon leading the Avs, as the Avs still do have the best record in hockey. The Minnesota Wild, ever since that Quinn Hughes trade, they've been red hot with Kaprizov, 33-14-10, 76 points. The Dallas Stars pick it up of late, 33-14-9, 75 points. Love Ottinger in net. He'll be on Team USA. Still can't believe Jason Robertson was not put on that Team USA team. Big mistake. I'd rather have him there over a couple of guys. We'll get to that later. I'd rather have him there over Trocheck, and I'd rather have him there over Brock Nelson there. I just got to it now. The Utah Mammoth, 29-23-4, 62 points. The Predators, 26-23, 58 points. Rounded out by the Blackhawks, Jets, and Blues, who are going nowhere. Listen, Connor Bedard playing good. Blackhawks have some good young players. I love their goalie, Spencer Knight, good young goalie. But they're still in build. They're still building a rebuilding team, a young team. I do love Bedard. The Jets, just having a terrible year, nightmare of a year after the season they had last year. They won't be anywhere near the playoffs. They're second to last, and the Blues round out the basement of the Central. Those teams have 53, 52, and 49 points, respectively, do the Blackhawks, Jets, and Blues. That is the Central. Avalanche, Wild, Stars, Mammoth, Predators, Blackhawks, Jets, Blues. Pacific, the Golden Knights and Mitch Marner, and Jack Eichel, Dave Stone, 25, 16, and 14, 64 points. Not as explosive as I thought they'd be. Aiden Hill still manning the pipes for them, although Carter Hart has been getting a look since coming back from suspension. The Edmonton Oilers starting to pick it up late, 28, 21, and 8, 64 points. They are both tied for first in the Pacific. The Young Ducks continue to hang in there, and they've had an exciting year at 30, 23, and 3, 63 points, followed by the Kraken at 26, 20, and 9, still hanging around. The LA Kings have put their chips in the center of the table, acquiring Panarin today. They're 23, 17, and 14. The Sharks 27, 23, and 4. Max Celebrini playing great. So is Will Smith. But the Sharks maybe a year away from contending. 27, 23, and 4, 58 points. Rounded out by the Flames and the Canucks, who are going nowhere. The Canucks actually have the worst record in hockey at 18, 32, and 6 with 42 points. The Rangers have the second worst record in the Eastern Conference. Rangers at the bottom of the East, Canucks at the bottom of the West. Canucks with the worst record in the league, followed by the Rangers. 50 points for Calgary and 42 points for for Vancouver, rounding out the bottom of the Pacific Division. So, if the playoffs started today, Colorado, Minnesota, and Dallas are your top three in the Central. The Golden Knights, the Oilers, and the Ducks are your top three in the Pacific. And your two wild cards would be the Mammoth and the Kraken. The Kings right now are 1 point behind Seattle, and of course they just made the Panarin trade today. The Predators are only 3 points out of the final spot, as Steve Stamkos has just gotten red hot. He looks like the old Steve Stamkos. I honestly thought teams like maybe the Islanders or teams that think they're buyers at the trade deadline would try to make a move for Stamkos, because he could get a team over the hump. I mean, Stamkos is back to his old form. So that's what we got in the NHL. Again, West, Avalanche, Wild, Stars, Knights, Oilers, Ducks, and your wild cards are the Mammoth and the Kraken. The Eastern Conference has the Lightning, Wings, and Sabres, the Canes, Penguins, and Islanders, and your wild cards are the Sabres and Canadiens. That's where we stand as the NHL heads to the Olympic break. I am going to say this. The Colorado Avalanche, listen, my Stanley Cup pick at the beginning of the year was the Tampa Bay Lightning, because I knew that the Panthers would probably not be healthy without Barkov and without Tkachuk to start the year. I knew it would take some time for them to get in the mix, although I never ever thought it would be this bad. I never thought it would be this bad. But I mean, listen, Colorado was smoking hot for so long, and they still have a hot record, but they have cooled off a little bit. I'm still sticking with my Tampa Bay Lightning, Vegas Stanley Cup final. I am going to stick with that, but I see Minnesota emerging as a team that people need to be worried about in the West. They're scary good. I mean, listen, I love Colorado. They're loaded too. Brock Nelson having a great year. You got McKinnon. Unfortunately, Landeskog is out. You know, they Devin Tays on the blue line. You know, Blackwood's played good in net. They do rotate their two goalies, but Blackwood is usually the guy. So tonight, but anyway, getting back to that, I think the West is a little more wide open. The East, I mean, to me, well, let me put it this way. The East is stronger. The Eastern Conference only has one team with a losing record, the Rangers. The Western Conference is the weaker division. It's the weaker division, and the Atlantic is the toughest division in hockey. It's the toughest division in hockey. So I think the West is a little more wide open because in the East, I couldn't tell you who... I couldn't really tell. I would favor the Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously, but you know what? There's so many strong teams in the Eastern Conference. I guess what I'm trying to say is the Western Conference to me is more of a... I misspoke. The Western Conference to me is... You pretty much, you're looking at Colorado, Minnesota, Vegas. To me, those are the only three teams that could get in. The Eastern Conference, who the hell knows? I mean, there's so many great teams in the East. I mean, would it shock you? Obviously, the Lightning are the favorites right now because they have the best record and they're 18-1-1 in their last 20. But it would shock you if the Red Wings got there? Would it shock you if Montreal got there? Would it even shock you if the Sabres, this great story this year of the young Sabres finally emerging, finally, after all these years of finishing last in the draft picks, and now Tage Thompson's a star. Would it surprise you if the Hurricanes got there? Okay, Penguins, Islanders, that would surprise you. But the Atlantic is stacked, and you wouldn't be surprised if any of those teams end up in the Eastern Finals. You wouldn't be surprised if it's the Wings or Carolina or the Lightning and the Canadiens. Or you wouldn't be surprised with any of that because all those teams are great. The West, I look at the West and I'm like, all right, it's Colorado, it's Vegas, it's Minnesota, and Dallas. That's it. And Edmonton. But Edmonton is not like they were last year. Edmonton is not like they were last year. They're not as strong as they were last year. I don't know. Something's missing. Obviously, the Young Ducks and the Kraken, there's only two teams in the Pacific. It's the Knights and the Oilers. And in the Central, it's the Avalanche, the Wild, and the Stars. That's it. That's it. Those are the five teams in the West that have a shot to get to the conference finals or maybe the cup finals. That's it. And in the East, I mean, I see, well, all right, it's not that much of a difference, but Lightning, Red Wings, Sabres, Canadiens, Hurricanes, Penguins, and it wouldn't even surprise you if somehow the Panthers get healthy and got on a roll. You know, none of that would surprise you. That's what makes hockey great. There's a lot of very good teams, and then there's also a lot of parity. All right, well, before we get out of here, we're going to give you tonight's games. Tonight, the Bruins and the Panthers at 7. It's the Canadiens at the Jets at 7. The Blackhawks at the Blue Jackets at 7. The Wild at the Preds at 8. The Red Wings at the Mammoth at 9. The Sharks at the Avalanche at 9. The Blues at the Stars at 9:30. The Canucks at the Golden Knights at 10. Battle of Alberta, the Oilers and the Flames at 10. The Kraken at the Kings at 10. Big games here. Wild Predators is a big one. And Bruins-Panthers. Panthers playing for their lives. The Panthers could actually fall 11 points out if they don't get a victory tonight. Yeah, they could fall 11 points out. time is slipping away for the Florida Panthers. We're going to get to the Olympic rosters. The Olympic rosters. Team USA. Matthew Boldy, forward, Minnesota Wild. Kyle Connor, forward, Winnipeg Jets. Jack Eichel, forward, Vegas Golden Knights. Jake Gensel, forward, Tampa Bay Lightning. Jack Hughes, forward, New Jersey Devils. Clayton Keller, forward, from the Utah Mammoth. Dylan Larkin, forward, Detroit Red Wings. Austin Matthew, forward, Toronto Maple Leafs. JT Miller, forward, New York Rangers. Brock Nelson, forward, Colorado Avalanche. Tage Thompson, forward, Buffalo Sabres. Brady Tkachuk, forward, Ottawa Senators. Matthew Tkachuk, forward, Florida Panthers. Vincent Trocheck, forward from the Rangers. The defensemen are Brock Faber from the Wild, Noah Hannafin from the Vegas Golden Knights, Quinn Hughes from the Minnesota Wild, Jackson Lacombe from Anaheim, Charlie McAvoy from the Boston Bruins, Zach Werenski, the defenseman from the Columbus Blue Jackets, Jacob Slavin, the defenseman from the Carolina Hurricanes, Jake Sanders, defenseman from the Ottawa Senators. Goaltenders now, will it be Jake Ottinger from Dallas? Will it be Jeremy Swayman from the Bruins? Or will it be Connor Hellebuck from the Jets? I don't know. I would say it's between Ottinger and Hellebuck. That is your Team USA hockey, which starts on the 12th of February. A lot of these games are going to be on USA Network and Peacock. The U.S. first 3 games are all at 3:10 in the afternoon. So you're going to have to make some arrangements to check this out because, they're dealing with the time in the Italian time zone there in Milan. We're going to take a look at the Canadian roster. Let's take a look here. Team Canada. Forwards, Sam Bennett, Florida Panthers, who was just added because of the injury to Anthony Cirelli. Macklin Celebrini, San Jose Sharks. Sidney Crosby, Pittsburgh Penguins. Brandon Hagel, Tampa Bay Lightning. Bo Horvat, New York Islanders. Nathan MacKinnon, Colorado Avalanche. Brad Marchand, Florida Panthers. Mitch Marner, Vegas Golden Knights. Connor McDavid, Edmonton Oilers. Braden Point, Tampa Bay Lightning, but it does not look like Point will be playing because of his injury. Now, Bennett was his replacement, but now Cirelli's out, so they're saying that that's Bennett's replacing him. I do not know who is going to replace Point as of yet. Sam Reinhart, Florida Panthers. Mark Stone, the captain of the Vegas Golden Knights. Nick Suzuki, Montreal Canadiens. Tom Wilson, Washington Capitals. Your defenseman, Drew Doughty of the LA Kings. Thomas Harley of the Stars. Cale Makar of the Avalanche. Josh Morrissey of the Jets. Colton Parayko of the St. Louis Blues, Travis Sanheim of the Philadelphia Flyers, Shea Theodore of the Vegas Golden Knights, and Devon Toews of the Colorado Avalanche. Right now, your goalies are Darcy Kemper and Jordan Binnington. Logan Thompson was there too with the Caps, but Thompson was helped off the ice with an injury the other night, so a little thin in goaltending. I'm not sure of his status or if he'll even play. He did finish the game the other night, but his teammates helped him off the ice. I'm sorry, actually, Thompson was hurt. Lindgren played for the Capitals, and then he got hurt. Let's take, let's get an update. Because Logan Thompson could very well end up being the starter. Right now it looks like it's going to be Binnington for Team Canada in net because he won the Four Nations. Again, let's take a look. Let's take a look at Logan Thompson's injury. Logan Thompson will be playing. He will return before the Olympics, and he will be playing for the Olympic team. So there you go. So it's Jordan Binnington, Darcy Kemper, and Logan Thompson from the Caps, Kemper from the Kings, Binnington obviously from the Blues. Those are your goalies for Team Canada. Very, very stacked lineup for Team Canada, especially in forward. I do favor the defensemen for Team USA as well as USA goaltending. So we shall see. That is our hockey show for tonight. We got you updated on the standings and some of the goings-on in the NHL. Again, a wide-open race. I do, again, favor the Eastern Conference. I think it's stronger and deeper. Like I said, I do feel like the Western Conference is more of a 4-team race between, Minnie and Vegas and Colorado and Edmonton and, maybe a surprise here in Dallas. But, the Stars, every year the Stars are always Western Conference worthy, but somehow they just never get over the hump. They like to play a high-flying brand of hockey, and playoffs slow the game down. It gets a little more physical. Although the Stars were in the Stanley Cup Finals just 5 years ago, they have not been able to get over the hump. Obviously, not having Tyler Seguin isn't really going to hurt them. They're loaded with Johnson and Robertson and Ben, and they got so many. Oh, of course, Rantanen, who will be playing for Team Finland in the Olympics. Dallas is a loaded team. Defensively, though, they give up a lot of shots. They're playoff hockey, it slows down a little, especially in the Eastern Conference. It's more banging in the corners and winning those battles and digging out pucks and who's got the hottest goaltender. And there's a lot more of that in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference is what I meant. I really do think that, my opinion, the two best teams in the West are Vegas and Colorado. In the East, I favor Tampa, but you wouldn't be surprised if there are risings from teams like Montreal and even Carolina, who's also a heavy favorite in the East, or even a young Buffalo team could be surprising. You wouldn't be surprised by any of that. And any one of those teams, if they got in, I would favor the Eastern Conference team in the Stanley Cup, no matter who they played. And that even goes for Colorado. Colorado, as hot as they've been, if I got the Lightning in there, I love Vasilevsky better than their guy. If I got the Red Wings in there, I love Gibson and net. If I got the Sabres in there, I love Lyon and net. The Canadians are probably the weakest team goaltending-wise in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs. Even the Penguins, I'm not a Stuart Skinner fan, but he has experience. If I got the Hurricanes in there, they're playoff battle-tested, and they're so deep. And, Freddie Anderson hasn't had a great year this year, but Busey's been super solid. They could go with a two-goalie system if they don't make a move before the deadline. I do see more depth. Like I said, I could see 7 teams in the East that can make a claim for themselves. Where in the West, I see like 4 or 5. So I definitely, it's wide open in both conferences, I guess, but it's going to be a bloodier battle in the East, in my opinion. And I will favor the Eastern Conference team, whoever gets there, to win the Cup. That's just my 2 cents. And that's even if it's Las Vegas. That's even if it's even if Colorado, with their amazing record, even if it's Las Vegas, I'll still favor the Eastern Conference champion, who I do think is going to be Tampa Bay. I'll still favor them in the Cup final. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm sticking with my Tampa Bay Las Vegas prediction for the Stanley Cup Finals. We will see. We're going to have 27 games down the stretch after the Olympic break. The Olympics is going to be super, super, super exciting. We are going to come on with an Olympic show, and we're going to go over all the rosters. I know today we just gave you Team Canada and Team USA, but we'll give you all the rosters and all the NHL players on all the rosters. We're going to do a show the night before the hockey starts, February 11th at 6 p.m., and we're going to come on and we're going to go over all the Olympic rosters and get you set up for the hockey. And of course, there's not going to be any NHL games now till February 26th. We have games tonight, we have games tomorrow, and then they will be on a break for the Olympics. There will be no hockey till February 26th. We'll be back that day to get you ready for the matchups and the races. And of course, we'll be with you all through the Olympics, go through the games, the stories, the medal round. But this week, we're going to be on Sunday morning to talk about the Super Bowl. I may even come on Saturday night. I'll post if I do come on Saturday night. I may come on Saturday night. The line is still at 4.5 for the Super Bowl. It hasn't moved. And you know what? Let's just check again right now. Yep, it's still at 4.5. But we're going to go over... We're going to do some football Saturday night, and then we're going to do a football show Sunday morning, all based around the Super Bowl. We've got to go over all the head coaching moves, because now there are 10 spots. All the vacancies have been filled. Technically, the Raiders did get their guy today. Well, they can't announce it until after the Super Bowl. But Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders' next head coach. And with Kubiak and their new-to-be quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, I think that Raider fans finally have a reason to get excited. Because you're going to have that quarterback head coaching combination that you have longed for so long. So that's it. Mostly hockey tonight. A little bit of a long show, 40 minutes. We hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the hockey tonight. Enjoy the Olympics. But we're going to get you all set up for that before it starts. So we will see you Saturday night to talk some football. We will see you Sunday morning. We're going to do a Super Bowl pregame. It'll probably be around 11:30. Saturday night we'll be on around 6 o'clock. Sunday we're going to be on at 11:30 in the morning. And we're going to do all Super Bowl, all the new head coaches and the new jobs that have been filled in the NFL. And that's when I will see you next, Saturday night. My name's Billy D. Thanks for watching NASR. Oh, by the way, just for all the people that scour the YouTube channel, and this music that I've played tonight is owned by myself. It's Wild America. It's a band that I was in, that I recorded albums with and released albums with, and I control the rights to all the music as well as my bandmates, so I have authorization to play this music, so you don't have to hit me with your the warning that I get on some of my broadcasts, your violation. Anyway, this is NASR. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow Billy DiNapoli on Facebook, X, Instagram, etc., etc. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later.